Hi, this is Rubina, Occupational Therapist. This video is actually for parents. It's summertime, so summer is always kind of a good time for parents to have that one-on-one with their kids, where they can try to get them reading at grade level or try to catch them up. Summer reading programs are a huge thing, and I know when I used to work in Slave Lake as a new OT, I ran a summer reading program for kids who weren't quite reading at grade level. So one of the things that I want to do is give parents some tips on how to help their kids. I hope that you find this video educational, and that it helps your child catch up a little bit to reading at grade level or improving their reading skills. Your workspace is often looking quite chaotic because your mind is feeling chaotic, and your mind is probably the most chaotic workspace that you have to deal with. So how do you start bringing organization into something that seems just chaotic? Well, you want to start looking for patterns and breaking things down into steps. That certainly has helped me, even into my adult years. I use that all the time, or work with teachers to implement all the time. And it's really about bringing in structure, breaking things down. So scaffolding is really big, just breaking things down into more manageable pieces, and something whereby you start with one step, and then you can build on that one step, get to the next level, and then you build on that. Here's an example of building on concepts. So we are going to start with the letter P. So I will typically start with letters that make one sound. Sometimes they will make another sound if they're paired with another letter, but that's a more advanced concept. So we start with letters that, for all intents and purposes, make one sound. And what do I mean by that? The letter C, for example. So we've got letter P, letter C. C can make a K sound, but it can also make a S sound, and S also makes a S sound, which can become confusing really fast. So that's why so here we go. There we go. Sa. So we stay away from letters that make sounds that other letters make. We don't want that. So stay away from G. It's not good company. I'm kidding. Okay, so here we go. P, so pa. So I really emphasize the pa. And when we're reading, I'll say things like, pa uck, or pa all, or pa ol. So I want to know that the child can hear the difference in the sound, and that they can also identify the letter when I make the sound, and also that they can make the sound when they see the letter. So we work on those things together in these exercises. The next thing will be T. So same thing again. We're going to go ta, tom, ta, to, ta, try, try, right? It's different from pa because it's ta. And then so I'll say, okay, so this is pa and this is ta. So I'll ask the child then, right? Like, what sound does the P make? Pa. What sound does the T make? Ta. Okay, what starts with T? Ta. And I've already given them examples because at this point, I have gone through different sounds and words that have ta and pa in them. So challenging them a little bit is good at that point to see if they've grasped that concept. And if they have grasped the concept, and I've gone through all of the letters for which make one sound, I know that these are combined with H, their sound changes. But again, that's an advanced concept, and I'm not going to worry about that right now because I don't want to confuse things. So we're just going to stick with letters that, for all intents and purposes, make their own sound. Not like C, not like G, because G can be J or G, and J is like J. Sa is like S. So we're not going to do those ones because, again, those are more advanced concepts, and we don't want to go there right now. But if you've gone through everything and the child understands, then you can introduce the next step. Now, by the way, H is another sound that just makes its own sound. So ha, right? Like house, horse, how, all of that. So we're going to pretend that you've gone through all of the letters that make one sound, and the child, I can identify them by sound. The child can identify them by the shape and make the sound, and identify them in a book as well and make the sound in a book. So now we're saying, okay, so ta will always make that T will always make the ta sound, but whenever something is paired with an H, it changes the sound that it makes. So ta becomes tha, and pa will become, sorry, just give me 1 second. Pa will become fa. So phone, right? Phone. Hopefully, I think this isn't a word that they're going to come across, or this letter combination is not something that they're going to come across with the books that you're going to be sharing with them, because what you want to do is look for books that have the concepts that you are working with your child on. You don't want to advance them to books where they see a lot of these types of combinations. They are probably going to see them at some point, but it shouldn't be dominating the dominating theme in the book. So here we go. So then sa also makes a sha sound, right? And H is not going to change the sound that every single letter makes. But again, we're going to get to that concept. We're not there yet, but this is just to give you guys an idea of what I mean by building on things. So you start with a simple concept. If they get it, then you move on to the next one, the next one, the next one. And I'll tell you from my experience, the order in which I present these that tend to work, but really each child is different. So you're going to have to meet them at their level and find out what that is. Meet them at their level and then help them to build from there. And that's an ongoing process. Like, I'm constantly assessing my child that I'm working with while I'm doing treatment. So I don't separate treatment from assessment. It's just automatic and it's ongoing. The child may feel that they can't make mistakes, or they become too scared to even try because they don't want to make a mistake. And it's okay to make mistakes. And I tell the kids that I work with all the time that, I don't care if you make mistakes. Make as many mistakes as you can, because this is the time to learn, and we learn when we make mistakes. So it's better to try and make a mistake, because adults make mistakes too. It's how we all learn. Than to not even give it a try, because we're afraid that we're going to make a mistake. When we don't make mistakes, we actually don't learn. So it's okay to make mistakes. And I think when we set the tone for, there are no stupid questions, try sounding out the word, do the best that you can, give it a try. Sometimes adults also come across words that they don't know how to pronounce, but we just try, right? We wing it. And sometimes we get the pronunciation right, and sometimes we don't. It's like tomato, tomato, or potato, potato, or whatever. It's okay. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. See, look, I made a mistake here. I tried to trace a B and I did it, anyways, I flipped it the wrong way. So that was a mistake, but I did not beat myself up over it. Though I felt quite silly for making the mistake, but that's okay. We all make mistakes. This is about working with memory. Which is really funny because our working memory is a thing and it happens in the front part of the brain. What we want to help the child do is store that information from the front part of the brain into the back of the brain, for lack of a, just to simplify things for the viewers here. Right? We want them to store that memory. It shouldn't just hang out in the front part of the brain. We want it to be something that gets stored so that the child can then recall that information when they need it. By the way, stress does not help with recall. Think about the last time you walked into a test where you were really nervous and you couldn't get the answer, and then you walked out and the answer came to you. So that's what stress does. Anyways, so I like to make things really fun for kids. So I'm going to use glitter. I'm going to use, what else do I have over here? I have lots and lots of fun things. Oh, here we go, feathers. So if I want to explore a word more, the next time that we do a session together, we're still going to go through the words again, because repetition is also key. Repetition, repetition, repetition. But repetition doesn't have to be boring either. We can get creative and do fun things. The thing that I love best when I work with kids is that I get to be a kid too, and my imagination gets to go wild, and we get to play with, you know, sparkles and paint and feathers and God knows what else. But what I would typically do is, so I cut out a letter B. So we're just going to go back over here. So I cut this out. I too struggle with scissor skills, as you can see, right? It's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect. That's not the point. So here we go. We've got a B, and today's lesson is going to be a little bit more memorizing. And so we are going to decorate a few of the letters. We're just going to pick maybe 2 or 3, depending on, again, what the child can hold in their mind and the amount of attention they have for me. Sometimes we're just going to work on one letter the session, but it's going to be really important, because if that's their attention span, then that's what I have to work with, because they're not going to remember anything outside of that. It's going to become difficult and frustrating for them, and then learning is not going to be fun, and they're not going to retain any of that stuff, because again, they're going to become stressed and not paying attention, and then everything can just kind of go south real fast. The more successful experiences you set up for the child, the better that will be for them. So we're going to decorate that, and we're going to get fun with it, because I'm going to say things like, okay, so what starts with the letter B, right? And again, ba. Every time I'm introducing letters or working with letters, I'm making sure that I emphasize every single time the sound that letter makes. So ba. What should we do with the B today? What sound does B make? Ba. Okay, what starts with B? Bird. Bird starts with B. And birds have feathers. So let's put a little feather with this bird, with the B. Sorry, this is all off. We can add more than one color feather if we want to. We can do 2 colors, anything. So the reason I do this is because I want the child to be engaged, because we tend to remember things that are engaging for us. And the second thing is that this was true for me, because I've struggled with attention growing up too, and I still do sometimes, if I'm being honest. But anyways, I would remember sometimes the feathers, or I'd remember the shiny thing, or I'd remember something else associated with learning that particular concept, and that would help me to recall the concept itself. So that's why I like to use, just lots and lots of different things to engage the child and bring life to that letter or that word, because that's the thing that might actually help them remember. Just make it fun for them. I would even do silly things like take face paints or whatever this is, crayons, makeup, and draw a letter B on my forehead and draw a letter, I don't know, D or T or P or whatever on the child's forehead. And we'd walk around with that during the session and we'd have to, maybe we'd just have it there and refer to it once in a while. But just doing silly, funny, fun things with kids is sometimes enough. To get them excited about learning and to make it a fun process that they're going to remember. Okay, so that is today's lesson, and I will be coming back to you with some more fun ideas and how do we now build on that first step that we've done with the child. If the child isn't stressing out about making mistakes, then it makes learning so much easier and a lot more fun for them as well. Because you can make mistakes together.